climactic battle that these enemy combatants will be wiped off the earth, and then the area and the perimeter will be secured. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's just that really is missing a lot of details and nuance. Um, so, I mean, Gaza's relatively small, but we're talking about several small cities and a terror group that is embedded in with the civilian population and is basically well prepared to wage an insurgency while hiding among civilians. So the idea that you can find them and track them down one by one, this would take a long time, and it would take a lot of effort, and it will entail substantial costs. Now, can Israel do it? Probably. But are they willing to pay the price to do that? And that's where I personally have some doubts. Um, no one knows for sure how hard it would be. Um, but that's kind of where the rubber meets the road here. But we're not even to that point. We're fighting a battle where the IDF does raids. They attack an area, they kill some people, they capture some people, and then they leave. But the whole time they allow Hamas to continue basically running the strip, governing it, per se. So it's not clear to me what replaces Hamas. And if a group of other Arab countries do it, first of all, it would be something totally new. It's not on any of their agendas. It's not on that Egypt plan. The Egypt plan is to have just basically different Palestinians do it. And I don't think any Arabs are going to come in there and fight Hamas, nor are they going to allow millions of Palestinians to move to their country. So, because it's all bad options, and this ain't going to be easy to finish this one off. And especially because Israel doesn't have allies to call on. There won't be U.S. troops in the ground. There won't be Canadian troops. There won't be European troops. There won't be Chinese troops or Indian troops or any of these other troops based on any of the plans I've seen. So it will be only Israelis that are taking the brunt of this insurgency if that's the way it goes. I feel like that's not really likely, that Israel isn't going to go through that. Instead, they're just going to try and land really hard blows and then just stand back and see what happens. I don't think that they really have a good strategic plan. Not one that I've seen.
Mike.
If they did, it begs the question, why didn't they pull it out in the past 15 months?
Mike, I personally like your analysis. I don't know why people get so hostile towards you, but also likewise, I've heard you get extremely hostile to some people on this app, and then I'm like, oh boy, like that's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, well, shit happens, but I mean, people get mad when anyone questions their side or whatever. People, this is a religious conflict to many people.
Mike, is it possible? Is it possible that you're just centering yourself a little bit more than the average person is in this room, respectfully?
Well, it's probably also that I have a bit more background in this. Like, for instance, way back in 2005, when the U.S. was embroiled in the Iraq War, there was insurgency there, I ran across a guy, a very smart guy named Thomas P.M. Barnett, who did these briefs to the Pentagon, and he wrote an entire book based on his briefs. It was a New York Times best-selling book called The Pentagon's New Map, and it also had a follow-on book. I read those books very closely, and I paid really close attention to that. So not everybody kind of has really any background in understanding the big picture of military and strategy. Like, I grew up playing diplomacy.
I have the same
all
Avalon
these
Hill
war games.
I have the same Avalon Hill game. That does not make one an expert in strategy. It's a great game, by the way. Don't get
But
me
it's
wrong.
a way to understand certain kinds of things that I mean, strategy is pretty hard.